Hello and welcome back to the Gunroom and Country Clothing with me, Mark. Sorry for the delay in videos. We've had a bit of an issue with YouTube flagging some of our items. Let's hope this video slips through the net. So today I thought we would have a look at budget air guns. The summer is coming. I know it doesn't feel like it with some ridiculous amount of days in a row raining, but trust me, spring and summer is on its way. And with that in mind, I thought we'd have a look at some of the budget air guns on the market available at the moment. Air gunning, people seem to have a thought that it is going to cost an absolute fortune to get into. But there are some offerings out there that are all sub £600 for everything. So that would be scope, mount, moderator, pump, rifle, the lot, including pellets. Away you go. The question is, are they any good? So you've all seen videos on Virox and all that sort of stuff. So we thought we'd have a look and see whether these budget or wallet friendly guns are any good to buy. So today we are going to be having a look at the Remington T-Rex. So this is the full length rifle version. It's not the bullpup. All of these that we're looking at today are going to be in 177. Side lever, this one will do roughly 100 shots per fill. They may quote more, but realistically it'll be about 100. We'll go through magazines and everything else separately. The T-Rex comes with a fairly basic but quite usable 3-9 by 40 scope, comes with mounts, and it also has, I think from memory, yes, a 3-stage pump that it comes with as well. All of that for less than £500. So that's a full setup. You can be out shooting all summer long with that. We are going to be putting that up against the very popular, and I know I shouldn't have favourites, but possibly my favourite, the Reximex Lyra K. So this is taking the market absolutely by storm. It's a lovely little gun. They reckon you can get 170 shots out of it. Realistically, I reckon you'll get 150. But side lever, this particular kit comes with a 4-12 by 40 AO scope, mounts Reximex Silent Force moderator, and the rifle. This comes with 2 magazines as well, so that's always a bonus. The only downside is you'd need to add a pump to it. And there are some really good pumps out there at the moment for not huge sums of money. If you want to look at really high quality, go and have a look at the whole, the Hills, sorry, or the FX 3-stage pump. But if you want something that's reasonably good quality but not going to break the bank, have a look at some of the Bisley pumps. They're currently really good on the market. They brought out 3 ranging from around £60 upwards. Definitely have a little peek at those. And we're going to put it up against the champion of all budget air guns, the Gamo Fox. So you've probably all seen these, you're probably all familiar with them. This will be nigh on £600. It'll vary a little bit depending where you go. And it comes with the moderator, 3-9 by 40 non-AO, but 3-9 by 40 standard Gamo scope. It comes with a rifle slip and it comes with a pump. 1 10-shot magazine. And obviously only comes with the one because this works off a BSA magazine. So hammer forged barrel, I imagine probably from Birmingham, but we will see. And we're going to have a look at usability, accuracy, which is obviously the big one, and a few other little bits just to see what's worth buying. So let's head over to the range. Let's put them to the test. So we're going to be shooting all of these today on the accuracy test using the QYS domed in the 9.56 grain. So first off, let's have a little look and see how easy they are to load the magazine. So on our XMX, you've got to twist the whole way around on the front of the magazine, like so. Hold the tension on the magazine, finger across the hole at the back, and then you feed the pellet in. Once you get the first one in, you then work backwards. So keep doing that. And there we are, loaded up. 12 shots in there, so reasonable size magazine. So we put a camera downrange so you can see the target. We're going to start off with the Lyra K. Now I think this will probably be helped with the fact that it's got an adjustable objective scope in the kit. So this is the only one of the three that has an adjustable objective. It's also got a 4:12 magnification, which I think will really help, as opposed to the other two, which are both 3:9. So now I have had my colleagues and assistants help with the zeroing, so these won't be absolutely bang on, but we're looking at grouping. So this is with the QYS Streamline in the 956. Let's have a little look and see how she shoots. We're going to do 5-shot groups on these to see how they get on. Crank the magnification up. Oh, it is a nice scope actually for the money. If anyone's wondering, it's a Conus Fighter is the scope, 4:12 by 40 AO. Right, far left hand target. I really like the side lever on these. They're actually surprisingly smooth. I really expected when they first came out for them to be really graunchy and horrible, but actually they're lovely, and the trigger isn't bad. Looking through the scope, that looks like a really good group. The cocking lever is smooth. There's next to no effort to actually cock it. No one would have issue with that. The trigger, I think, can be best described as an old school matron, maybe a Royal Naval nurse. It's firm and it has one job to do, and it's going to do it, but it's going to do it extremely well. So don't expect any frills or niceties with it, but that's a very good trigger actually for a gun that's, for an air gun that's going for less than £450 as a full kit. So let's move on to the T-Rex. Grab hold of that one. There we are. So this is my, I haven't shot this a huge amount. The bolt's a really odd angle on this, and I quite like it because it's got a big handle on. Smooth cocking, signs are good for the Remington. There we are. So this is a 3:9 by 40 scope. no frills or anything like that. Cross bolt safety in front of the trigger there, which is nice. So that's actually, I was expecting that to catch the QIS, but actually that went really well. Right, same thing, 5 shots. We're gonna struggle here compared to the XMX with the scope. Yeah, without the AO and my aging eyes, I'm going to have to sit on a lower magnification just to get them clear. So maybe if you are looking at getting one of these, the better option would be to upgrade the scope. But that's not the point. We're looking at the kit, Mark. Pay attention. Right, 5 shots incoming. The bolt is really lovely, and it's worth pointing out actually that you can make this left-handed cocking as well. So something to think of for you lefties out there. Are they all going in the same hole? And also, the trigger actually is surprisingly nice. It's a little bit spongy, but firm enough that it's doing the job fairly well. I quite like it. I can say this because my missus doesn't watch the videos, but it's a bit like a Victoria sponge. A little bit spongy, relatively firm. I think I may have made a boo-boo on that last shot, but the scope, I'm struggling with the scope. I'm shooting that on 4.5 magnification as opposed to the full 12 on the Rexamax because I could focus it. But we'll run down and we'll have a look at the target shortly anyway. I'm impressed with that. Lovely smooth bolt. Magazine rotates really well. Trigger's actually very good. It's looking good for the T-Rex. And now we've got Old Faithful, the Gamo Fox. So I've liked these for ages. The only thing I would say about the Gamo is for younger shooters, the bolt you need to be extremely firm with to actually bring it all the way back. So whereas the Rexamax and the Remington, you can get a little bit lazy, not lazy, you can be a little bit half-hearted with the bolt to actually cycle it. The Gamo, you need to be very firm and positive with the bolt. So there we are, that's that. So let's have a little look. We're going for the far right target down there. Although this is the same specification scope as the Remington, which is a 3:9 by 40 scope, I must admit I can see far clearer through the Gamo scope. So I think possibly the Remington could do a better job if it has a better scope on it. But wherever you're looking at these, the guys will probably swap out the scope if you requested them to. So let's have a little look. Right, whoever zeroed that one, zeroed it quite high, but let's see how we go. Trigger's making some strange noises, but it's very predictable. It's a good trigger, this. Good group. Good group. First shot, which was me getting used to the trigger, may well have just been me. I must admit, I think, the trigger's reasonable. The trigger's reasonable on it. I would have preferred a metal trigger blade on this style trigger, but that's personal preference more so than a criticism. That was shot on 9 times magnification. I'm going to attempt to get you guys a picture to put up next to the target on the screen somewhere, what I can see through the scope crosshair wise. Fairly good, all of them. I would be quite happy with if I was target shooting. This is at 20 meters, by the way, everyone. So this is a 20-meter test. Right. I think they've all done extremely well. Let's move on to the next test. For the next part of the test, we're going to look at pellet fussiness. Now, a lot of people don't think about this when they're buying an air rifle. So, you're out and about, you've gone out with your friends and you've left your pellets at home. Oh no, you've got to go into a shop. Does the gun shoot all pellets reasonably well? Because of a gun of this value, you're not going to be expecting pellet on pellet accuracy. You just wanted to shoot well through most things. So you run into a shop, all they've got is RWS Superdome, but you shoot JSB Exact. Will it shoot both relatively well without cleaning barrels and without having to flush everything out to get it over? So what we're going to do is we're going to put 3 shot groups down on the target you can see down the bottom there. And we're going to shoot the, I'll double check, JSB pellets first, 3 shots, and then in the magazine is RWS, 3 shots straight after that. Because we want to see, are they really pellet fussy or not? Because you don't want to have to go and buy specific pellets every single time you have to buy a tin. What if they're out of stock? So let's have a little look. We'll try the Wrexham X first. So this is going to be some JSB to start off. This is the exact 8.44 grain in the domed head. There's 20 meters. It's going to be the same across the board, and then followed by an RWS Superdome pellet, which is of a different style of lead. They are 8.3 grains. So let's have a little, move the microphone so hopefully it doesn't brush too much. Look at this. Cool, it doesn't like them JSBs as much, but those RWS are absolutely brilliant in that. I'll leave that one there just a minute, magazine out. So let's go for... Now for the Remington. So JSB to start, followed by RWS Superdome with the scope that's not so good. This may work against the Remington on a 3-shot group. It is a surprisingly good bolt on this. A lot of this is down to the scope, I will openly admit that. Onto the RWS. God, that doesn't like the RWS at all. Now on to the BSA. RWS. Let's have a look at the target because I can't really see through this scope. So we've had a look at the accuracy side of things, we've had a look at pellet fussiness, and we've had a look at magazine usability. I must say all of them have done extremely well, and take this with a pinch of salt because these guns have very kindly been loaned to me, but they have not been shot all that much. I also haven't spent a lot of time with them. So although one may look worse than the other, that's not to say that's a rule for all of them. That's just for this particular rifle that I've got in my hands. Obviously, we've sold a fair few of them, but I've seen a lot of them come through the door. They all do fairly well. Anyway, moving on. I would say the easiest magazine to load is probably the BSA, closely followed by the Remington, and then the Reximex. Although you get two of them in the box with the gun, they are a little bit more fiddly. But, you know, if you struggle with it, buy a 2.2, because these modern ones do really well. Accuracy test, I'm going to put them up on the screen shortly so you can have a little peruse. I've also used a micrometer to measure them correctly so you guys can see exactly what's doing. Oddly, I do believe, if my maths is correct, the smallest difference, so the one that shoots the pellets, most variation of pellets the best, therefore being least pellet fussy, is in fact the Remington T-Rex, which I was quite surprised about. I was anticipating the BSA would be the one that was least impacted, but that shot an extremely good group on the RWS, but did not like the JSB at all from memory. So yeah, something to consider there, a little bit fussier. Let's move on to general quality, feel, and what are they like to actually use. So again, starting with the Reximex. The wood stock, which is a nice feature to have, especially for less than £450, as you see the kit, I think feels really nice. It's got a proper solid feel to it. The cocking lever, as I probably said, is really smooth. I was expecting something a little bit graunchier than what it actually was. Really smooth cocking. Magazine works extremely well, even though it's a bit fiddly. The trigger is very, very good. And I didn't mention it's actually an adjustable shoe trigger, so you can adjust the angle and where you want the trigger shoe on this one. So that's extremely good. It's also got an adjustable variable power. Nice to have. Whether you're actually going to use it or not, I don't know. Most people would set it to like what it comes to out the box and then just leave it, I would have thought. Really enjoy using it. There's no rattles, there's no loose bits. All of the parts feel quality. And I think, as far as looking at it as a kit goes, the Conus Fighter scope, it definitely gave it the best chance on this test. Now remember, I'm going to review them as kits rather than individual items and say this is better or worse. I think that is by far the best scope that you can get. And remember, this whole thing, in theory, is less than £450. So, really good quality, absolutely solid build, no rattles, no sort of horrible materials. Moving on to The Remington T-Rex, which I must admit, I was genuinely anticipating this being a little bit pants. It's not. I'll tell you now, it's not. The trigger actually is really good. The bolt is very, very smooth, which I'm genuinely surprised about. Little features, it's got open sights, which is really uncommon in pre-charged airgun these days. I think the only other ones with open sights is the Hatsan Galatian, if they're still making it. That's possibly an insight into how long I've been doing this job. And the Gamo Arrow, which I haven't had much... I haven't had much handling of that, so I can't comment on that one. Really like the fact it's a left-hand option as well on the cocking bolt. The magazine feels quality. The stock is plastic, and it's not a wood stock like a HW110 with a rubber overlay. It is a proper synthetic stock. But again, no rattle. Feels solid. There's no loose bits on it. It does have a polymer shroud on the end, or dampener, I suppose you would call it, which works reasonably well. You probably heard it in the Ranger. Nice little thing. Pressure gauge on the end. Yeah, not going to set the world on fire, but equally absolutely nothing to complain about. The only thing I would say that let this kit down in the testing is the scope. It's a basic 3 to 9 by 40, so you're not going to be expecting like awesome results and like amazing clarity through it. But wherever you go, if you're looking at getting one of these, I would say swap the scope out. Have a little look at a Hawk fast mount. That'll be one of your best. And I think you cannot beat the Hawk fast mount 3 to 9 by 50 AO for value for money. Absolutely brilliant. If you're fancying something a little bit nicer, you can always look at the Wolf Lightning. That's a 30mm tube. You've probably seen a few videos on that. That's a really good option. So again, nothing to complain about on that one. Really good quality. And then you've got the Gamo Fox. Only thing that I would really want them to do is to put a side lever on this. The bolt works really well as long as you're firm with it. You've got to be firm with it, meaning be positive when you pull it back. The whole build quality is extremely good. Obviously cold hammer forged barrel. This one is the more expensive of the three. So this is, I think, he's RRP'd at around £600, nigh on. For that though, you get a lot more metal parts in it, and it's good blued metal. It's not anodized, so it's not going to chip, and it's not going to go shiny silver underneath. So the actual finish of this gun, I would have said, is far better. The scope is quite reasonable. Although it's only a 3 to 9 by 40, the same as the Remington, it's actually a very good quality gun. And in 2.2, you can get roughly 80 shots out of this. I also like the fact it's got a threaded barrel. So if you wanted to, you could upgrade the moderator to something like a Varrock XLK or just a standard Varrock one as well. The scope, as I say, is very usable. It's not necessarily what I would pick if I was going to go out and do plinking. The stock is nice. It's really ergonomic. The pistol grip on it is nigh on vertical, which suits my level of shooting just as I like it. Again, nothing to complain about. None of these guns have disappointed me. They're all actually really nice to use. Yeah, so you won't be disappointed with any of these. Hopefully you have enjoyed watching this video. I would say any of these three you will not be disappointed with. My personal winner for this is a combination of shock that it's actually very good, usability, and surprisingly good consistency. So out of the three, the Remington T-Rex actually, according to all the criteria we set out to look at, wins this test. But which one would I have? The Lyra K, which goes against everything that we've just learned in this video, I must admit. I think the Lyra K's cocking is smoother, the trigger is nicer. This is all a personal opinion, this is not fact. And I really like the fact it's got a buddy bottle on it. It's a little bit more compact than the other ones. It would just suit me better. But you will not be disappointed with any of the three. If you have any questions, same as anything, search us out and give us a call, give us an email, whatever you fancy doing. Hopefully you enjoyed this. See you on the next one.